You can have full access. You can have full access. You can have full access to every room in my heart. When you know that love is real, you stop trying to conceal, and you just let it in. Let the healing begin. My God's not in the band-aid business. Will you trust him? Try forgiveness. You can accept yourself. Finally release everybody else. You can have full access. You can have full access. You can have full access to every room in my heart. You can have full access. You can have full access. You can have full access to every room in my heart. Oh, search me, know me. You accept the real me. So come and change. Come rearrange. Oh God, search me, know me. You would never reject me. So come and change. Come rearrange. Oh God, search me, know me. You have always loved me. So come and change. Come rearrange. God, you can change. You can have your way. You can have full access. You can have full access. You can have full access. Yeah, yeah. You can have full access. You can have full access. You can have full access to every room in my heart.
I don't need to know your plans. I just need to hold your hand. I know I'll be a better man. I don't need to understand. I just need to hold your hand. I know I'll be a better man.
Good evening, everyone. We will begin very soon. Please take your seats.
I don't need to know your plans. I just need to hold your hand. I'll be a better man. I don't need to understand. I just need to hold your hand. I know I'll be a better man. Ooh, let heaven
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Universal African Dance and Drum Ensemble.
of the Universal African Dance and Drum Ensemble, we'd just like to say thank you so very much to our Honorable Mayor Ross Barack and his brother Obalaji in the city of Newark for having us come and be a part of celebrating the second term. God bless you, each and every one of you, and may God continue to bless our mayor.
Good evening, everyone. Governor Phil Murphy here. It is my honor to be a part of Mayor Ras J. Baraka's 2022 State of the City Address, and I want to thank him for the invitation to participate and, more importantly, for his outstanding leadership of the city of Newark. As one of the oldest cities in our nation and now the largest in our state, Newark is an essential part of New Jersey's past, present, and future. The work that has been done, for example, over the past several years to replace lead pipes and ensure every Newark resident has access to clean drinking water is an important model for countless cities in our nation to overcome their equally dangerous lead service line crises. Newark has proved that this complex and challenging work not only can be done, but must be done. Thank you and well done, Newark. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the city on taking its first steps toward revitalizing Newark Penn Station. This major investment in one of our state's most important transit centers will not only restore its beauty, but help spur economic growth and prosperity for the hundreds of thousands of New Jerseyans who live or work in the Newark area. As our state continues to fight and recover from the dual health and economic crises caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, I am proud to see Newark leading the way to a brighter tomorrow. The challenges we face are opportunities for growth, and together we will create a stronger and fairer New Jersey and city of Newark for everyone. Thank you all, and God bless each and every one of you.
Please give a warm welcome to Pastor Samir Mustafa of Iglesia Rev Iver.
Good evening. In Psalm 106, verse 1 says, "Praise the Lord, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, his love endures forever." I will pray. Dear Lord, we want to thank you for the city of Newark, and we ask you to bless the city, that the city will just grow, and grow. Prosperity, and I praise you, Lord, for this moment. I want to thank you for our mayor, Ras J. Baraka. You could bless his family, bless his staff, bless everyone in this building, Lord. Blessing with protection, with provision, and with your presence. Unity, peace, and love, I do pray for that, Lord. I want to thank you, Lord. Our brothers and sisters, Lord, in Ukraine, that you will bless them too, Lord. God, we love you. You are an awesome God. Bless this meeting, Lord. I thank you for being a resident of this city of Newark. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Amen and amen. Newark moving forward. Praise God.
And now, the presentation of colors by the Newark Department of Public Safety, Police Ceremonial Unit, and Fire Honor Guard.
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? O'er the land of the and the with every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the lifting skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has taught us. Facing the rising star of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Is won. Is won. Is won. Keep on fighting till victory is won. Gotta hang on in there until it's won. Don't give up the fight until it's won. Yeah, yeah. It's won. Come on, let's lift that up together. It's won. Keep on marching till it's won. It's won. Last time it's won. Let us march on. Let us march on till victory is. Victory is won. Let us march on till victory. One day it'll all be over. Victory will be won. Let
Thank you to the A. Samar Bigham and Friends of the Greater Mount Moriah Baptist Church of Newark. And now, please welcome Judah Ortiz, 5th grader from the Park Elementary School of Newark.
Good evening, everybody. Bringing honor to God and to all the dignitaries, my name is Judah Jedediah Ortiz, and I would like to share how I agreed to recite this poem. The request was made, and my mom asked if I would do it. Immediately, I said yes, with only one condition: if the mayor would give me his personal cell number. Ironically, I don't even have a phone, but still. The request was made, and my mom asked if I would do it. So I could have asked for a Roblox gift card or a Nike Store gift card, but instead, I asked for the personal cell number of the greatest black mayor in these United States, Raj J. Baraka's personal cell number. Tonight I will be reciting a poem by the late, great Maya Angelou entitled "Life Doesn't Frighten Me at All." Shadows on the wall, noises down the hall. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Bad dogs barking loud, big ghosts in the clouds. That doesn't frighten me at all. Mean old Mother Goose, lions on the loose. That doesn't frighten me at all. Dragons breathing flames on my counterplane. That doesn't frighten me at all. I go boo, make them shoo. I make fun, way they run. I won't cry, so they fly. I just smile, and they go wild. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Tough guys in a fight, all alone at night. That doesn't frighten me at all. Strangers in the dark, panthers in a park. That doesn't frighten me at all. Don't show me frogs and snakes and listen for my screams. If I'm afraid at all, it's only in my dreams. Life doesn't frighten me at all. I've got a magic charm I keep up my sleeve. I can walk the ocean floor and never have to breathe. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Not at all, not at all, not at all. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Thank you. Okay.
12 days after our mayor was inaugurated, the federal government released its findings report demonstrating that there was a pattern or practice of unconstitutional policing in the city of Newark. The last 8 years, our mayor has been laser focused on not only reducing serious crime in the city, but also improving the relationship that our police officers have with our community. 8 years later, crime has been cut in half. Murders have been cut in half in the city.
The Newark Public Safety Collaborative is one of the things we're very proud of. They just had a recent meeting and they had 40 community people and organizations, including law enforcement, including social agencies, the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma, and Newark Community Development Network, and all the neighborhood organizations.
The Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery was developed in the wake of the George Floyd protests. And the rallying cry was defunding of the police. But the city of Newark, we reallocated 5% of the police department's budget to be able to develop violence prevention programs because we know that law enforcement cannot do this work alone.
When our mayor took office, we had been rebounding from layoffs. There were 162 police officers who had been laid off, and the city had a hiring freeze for a number of years. So when our mayor came in, he has hired over 500 police officers and reinvigorated the police department, changed the culture of policing in the city.
So for every 10 police officers that go to the academy, we get 1 social worker. And so we're coupling the social workers with law enforcement to be able to handle quality of life issues. People who have mental health issues just need resources and things like that.
This is the first time in the history of this city that we are graduating social workers on the same stage with police officers.
We are sending every Newark police officer to in-service training for a full week. They're learning about implicit bias, stop, search, and arrest practices, community engagement, community policing, and also response to a person's resistance in the street. We actually created a full-time position in our community outreach unit where we have a detective who is openly gay, who is the LGBTQ community liaison. Ever since our mayor took office, he's been focused on increasing the relationship between the officers and the community. So today, we have 2 community service officers, full-time, dedicated to establishing those relationships, to solving problems in the community. In the 4 years before our mayor took office, the city paid well over $1.4 million in police brutality lawsuits. And that's been reduced by 94%. And what's true in the city of Newark today is the last 3 years have seen the lowest annual murders that have happened in our city. There's been this idea since George Floyd was murdered that we need to defund the police, that police are depolicing, that you can't have it both ways. We're proving that you can do both. You can have police officers that are compassionate, that police constitutionally, that are respectful, and that also are capable of reducing crime significantly.
So our health center, when we were evaluated in 2014, we received a 9 out of 19, which is a failing score. But 4 years later, we were able to secure a perfect 19 out of 19, unprecedented across the country, and told that we were one of just a handful of more than 1,400 FQHCs across the country to do so. We then again had a second evaluation in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic, and again received a perfect score. Our initial response in providing vaccines was to educate our community through a number of vehicles, from social media to public presentations. However, we got to a point where we realized that we needed to move deeper into the community and take the vaccine opportunities to the people.
We're grateful today grateful for the shot.
And we're here today to vaccinate the YMCA and the residents who live here.
So we developed a number of what we call pop-up vaccine opportunities, where we would go to schools, to communities, to community groups and associations, and partnered with those community organizations. We went into the senior buildings to vaccinate our seniors. We went into all of the shelters of our residents without addresses. We have been able to vaccinate nearly 70% of Newark residents ages 5 years and older, and have administered at least one shot to over 85% of Newark residents 5 years of age and older.
It's a long way, it's a long time coming, but I think we're gonna make it.
I was an educator for over 20 years in the city of Newark. I think that the people have the right to control the institutions in their community, education being one of the major institutions in the city, and the residents and families of the city whose children go to these schools should have a right to determine who's their superintendent, who sits on their school board, the curriculum, contracts.
Many people were very interested in wondering about what the new chapter of education would look like. Well, we're actually writing a completely new book. NPS Clarity 2020 converged to the next decade, 2020-30 strategic plan.
So I thought it was incredibly important after 20 years of state control with no real progress that the city should have an opportunity to try for themselves.
So not only do we have a fully elected 9-member board committed towards establishing policies and the selection of the superintendent, we are very confident that our return to any type of state operation is long in our past.
Well, I think it's important that, one, that folks in the community are already educated, because you can't participate in democracy if you're not really educated. If you do not know what's happening in the community, you don't know civics or civil government or what's going on. You need to be educated and you need to be clear on the issues so you can protect yourself and protect your families from things that are going on.
So the Newark City of Learning Collaborative was a vision of the mayor as he looked into 2020, the importance of Newark being a college-going town, but it not being realized by any of the residents in Newark. The responsibility of the high schools is to provide college readiness. The responsibility of the colleges is to make sure that the students actually complete college. So our job is to expose students to all of the possibilities.
Well, we are really proud of Rutgers Newark's attempt to really embrace Newark students. They are amazing students. Since 2013, we've doubled the amount of Newark residents at Rutgers Newark, and in programs like our Honors Living Learning community, where 50% of the 480 students so far are from Newark.
And when I came to Newark to start working at NJIT, I met Principal Raz Baraka. Raz at the time, our now mayor, was the principal of Central High School. We met, chatted, started talking about how do we get more students from Central High to NJIT. So that was the inspiration. That is literally about 20 plus years ago. And then the mayor said one day, it's time we double the enrollment from the city of Newark at NJIT. That was the history and the inspiration. It's been Mayor Raz Baraka. So we're beginning to see the doubling. It took us a little while to get it all figured out. I'm proud of the Mayor Scholars Program because pretty soon you're going to meet one of the participants.
Really, the reason I went to CS was I wanted to do startups eventually. I wanted to make some apps. I think the scholarship really allowed me to enjoy and utilize my college experience to the fullest of its potential and take a lot of really challenging courses that allowed me to learn really complex things that I didn't think I'd get to learn about until maybe grad school. It gave me preparations for things that I didn't even know I'd be dealing with in college, like internships and things like that. Right now I'm studying computer science. I want to specialize in making apps and websites and things like that. I've been mainly learning a lot of AI, like artificial intelligence, which is something I've been super interested in. I wouldn't be where I am without the Mayor Scholars Program. Thank you, Mayor Baraka.
Inclusionary zoning was an important component of the city's growth as we looked at having inclusive development across the city, downtown, in our neighborhoods. We knew our population was growing and we needed places for our residents to stay. The city has focused on affordable housing, especially in the last 4 years.
And I'd like to thank everyone that was involved in making me and my kids' dream come true. Now they have somewhere they can call theirs.
Just in 2020 and 2021, the city invested $24 million to be able to provide production and preservation of affordable housing for residents here in the city.
We had a recent report issued late last year about a need of 16,000 new affordable housing units that are needed in the city of Newark, a community where 80% of the residents are renters, 1/3 of them burdened by the fact that half of their salary is going towards rents. We are looking to not only build a new affordable housing that's desperately needed in the city and in the neighborhood, but also bring in a commercial component in the form of 6 movie studios in a portion of the existing complex. We have built 545 new affordable units throughout the community. In addition to that, we have extended over 600 project-based vouchers to private developers. So the total is actually over 1,100 new units created over the last 8 years. The Newark Housing Authority currently has 535 units that are either under construction or in the drawing board. Out of that 534 units, we have 100 homes for sale to first-time home buyers. We want to make sure that first-time home buyers have access to affordable for-sale units, not only renting units, but they can purchase a home for the first time and build long-term wealth in the form of equity. Seeing how the Seth Boyden neighborhood was suffering as a result of the existing 15 acres of land that remained vacant, he was able to work with the Housing Authority in extending a loan so that we can accelerate the demolition of Seth Boyden.
78% of the residents here needed assistance during COVID. We worked day in, day out to have 4 rounds of emergency rental assistance. Over the last 2 years, we provided almost $25 million of assistance to the families that rent here in our city. We wanted to help families remain in their home. Our population grew last year. We're now over 300,000 people, and we remain the largest city in the state of New Jersey. That is an incredible thing to happen during a pandemic.
Well, most of the cities across the country have record housing insecurity because of the astronomical cost of living. Under Mayor Baraka's leadership, we have done a lot of work to address housing insecurity for our residents without addresses. We first started with creating one of our first transitional housing centers called the Newark Hope Village. With our Newark Hope Village, we partnered with many service providers in our community to develop a very low barrier shelter. We have a waiting list now of over 100 individuals, which is a good thing. And so these are individuals that are now looking to go into shelter and looking to change their lives and build independence. So we're working actually on building 3 additional sites this year. We've also worked with developers to establish housing projects for our residents without addresses.
So again, this portion of the shelter, we're going to have a main entrance from Freeling Heights in here. This is going to be the daily drop-in room and activity center, as well as serve as the Code Blue area.
And we're working to develop a drop-in center in the downtown area to focus on providing case management and social service supports that are necessary to transition people that are shelter averse into shelter first, and then we'll work to transition them to independence and housing. This $5 million investment that Mayor Baraka has made in homelessness is tremendous.
And Sakina has made it a point over and over again that people shouldn't actually be living on the street.
When I came into the position, I learned quickly that, the mayor was really interested in creating innovative programs that were geared towards our most disenfranchised residents. And under his leadership, I really believe that we can end homelessness here in the city. The mayor's created an Office of Homeless Services just to focus on homelessness. It showed me that there is a community, there is a city, there is a leader that is really committed to moving people off of the street and into homes where they belong.
You will see construction happening today. It can range from a 2 to 3 unit building on a number street, or it could be right downtown and you'll see buildings that have cranes in the air and there's 12 stories being built. But the key important part about our economic outlook is that it's bright. Mayor Baraka's vision for the city is progressive, it's bold, it's necessary today more than it was ever needed before. We needed a leader who took risk strategic risk, but then also brought partners along to be able to help our residents thrive, sometimes even survive during this pandemic. That's a testament to a great leader of a city, but it also leads to all the other facets of our community, from economic development to public safety to transportation to our arts community. And I think that that piece is critically important for anyone to know that not all cities have a leader like this mayor.
Newark is on an incredible upswing.
Prudential has made a series of catalytic investments in things to spur growth and the revitalization of the city. So things like increasing the residential units that are available, including affordable housing, and increasing the commercial square footage for businesses and things like that.
The mayor's vision for inclusive economic growth in the city has been the North Star for the Newark Alliance's work. Our members, which represent the major institutions in the city, from companies like Prudential and PSE&G and Audible to cultural institutions like Symphony Hall and NJPAC.
So Audible has been a tremendous collaborator. We moved to the city of Newark in 2007 on purpose. We really wanted to be part of the city's revitalization. We're the fastest growing employer, so it's critically important for us to work in lockstep with the city of Newark and the administration of Ras Baraka.
Part of the company, come down, be a part of the city is excellent.
We launched in 2017 a Live Local effort where we wanted to incentivize our employees to live here. It's not just enough to work in the city of Newark. We help to provide a subsidy for employees that want to live in the city of Newark to hopefully kind of expand what their local economic footprint can look like.
Prudential has been in Newark for almost 150 years. We were founded here. We continue to be headquartered here. We are incredibly bullish on Newark and continue to be inspired by what we see every day.
The traveler sees Newark as a welcoming city that offers great restaurants, great entertainment options, and great museums. Since 2014, the increase in tourism to the city of Newark has increased 40%, from $2 billion to $2.8 billion. Hotel revenue since 2014 has increased from $112 million per year to an average of $142 million per year.
Well, at the start of the pandemic, the mayor decided that he wanted to make sure that we provided food for the homeless folks and folks that was in need. So we created a food distribution program, first with the ShopRite cards. Then after that, it morphed into something larger with HelloFresh. And in collaboration with Newark Public Schools and Newark Working Kitchens, we distributed more than 8 million meals.
Mayor Baraka assured that any resident that fell back on their rent during the pandemic had access to the city's emergency rental assistance program. We have allocated $1.8 million to any public housing resident that has fallen behind, so that no one needs to feel the financial burden of this pandemic.
Since March of 2020, the city has issued 4 rounds of small business grants to businesses 25 employees or smaller. They ranged from $10,000 to $15,000 per business, and we were able to reach businesses across all 5 wards.
We invested in the mayor's small business grant fund to ensure that these businesses were able to continue to pay their employees and to provide the goods and services that they were in the business to do.
Okay, it got really hard during the pandemic, and the grants given to us by the mayor has really saved the business.
Queen Pizza 2 has been in business since 1984, which is about 37 years by now. During the pandemic, we received a grant from the city of Newark, which will help us with our expenses, rent, and payroll.
We're preparing the residents of Newark to skill up for the new careers that are emerging in our city. That includes in construction, in healthcare, in transportation and logistics, in technology, and in green energy.
We looked at this large lead service removal program and thought it was a perfect opportunity to
economically invest into the community. Having our black and brown community, Newark residents get jobs, become a part of the lead removal. By getting jobs, we made it mandatory. We work with the state Department of Workforce Development to put about 65 residents through an apprenticeship program, and maybe about 35 of them graduated in the first class, are now employed on construction projects with the local unions. They've moved on from lead service line projects, but they still maintain those jobs in the union.
We have a ton of work that we do around that concept of making sure that small businesses, new entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs have support from us. We touched over 4,000 businesses last year.
The Newark Land Bank was created to bring homeownership opportunities to the citizens of the city of Newark, so that every Newark resident has an opportunity to become a homeowner. The Newark Land Bank is transforming blight to light.
Newark is actually experiencing somewhat of a construction boom and a development boom. There's a lot of opportunity for developers to come into the city.
The Skyway at Mulberry it's really a phenomenal project. I think it'll be iconic for the downtown. We needed a way to connect our neighborhood. So this Skyway not only is a symbol of how we're connecting our neighborhoods, it's also how we're connecting to those who want to go to NJPAC or visit the Newark Symphony Hall.
In 2021, we did a record in the amount of miles of paving. On typical years, we do approximately 5 miles of paving. Last year, we did approximately 40 miles of paving.
Newark Go. Newark Go is something that cities have been looking at to provide more affordable mobility for residents. In Newark, I believe it's 50% of our residents don't own a car. And so they rely on buses or walking in our city. So what we wanted to do is give them another method, which was to do bike share or scooter share and be able to get from location to location.
So the city of Newark has one of the oldest water systems in the country. The city of Newark being the third oldest major city in the country. Our water system dates back to President Lincoln.
Well, listen, somebody who was born and raised in the city of Newark and worked my entire life here in Newark. Newark had a health emergency. It was a crisis. And when you're in a crisis, everyone needs to be able to pitch in to be able to help each other. We were able to put together the Essex County Improvement Authority with us to have Newark bonded through us, the ECIA, which was approximately about $120 million. They're going to have this done in 2.5 years. I think it set the whole tone for New Jersey, that you could have a county government and you could have a municipality, especially the largest city in New Jersey, work together to resolve a problem. And the problem's resolved.
We've invested over $230 million in the water system, from filtration upgrades in the treatment plant to new water mains, fire hydrants, to assessing over 210 miles of small diameter sewer, to reducing decades of flooding in certain parts of the town, and we continue to invest in upgrading the system. The city, after 25 years, had its first lead exceedance back in 2017, and we rolled out a 4-step approach. Immediately to reduce the exposure to lead in drinking water, we handed out 40,000 point-of-use filters. We put in a new orthophosphate system to reduce the effects of lead leaching from the lead pipe. And public education, one of the most important things was develop a program to remove lead service lines, the largest risk of lead leaching into water. We're not only getting calls from all around the country, we're getting calls from outside of the country, whether it's Canada, Germany, or Australia, about how we were able to pivot and create a robust, efficient, and effective lead service removal program in a timely manner. I got a call from someone at the EPA. It was an invitation to be a part of the Biden's administration announcement around the infrastructure bill passing and signing. And it was a highlight of just seeing the city of Newark being invited there to say how we've completed the program and showing that it can actually be done.
There has been growth. A lot of people have relocated out of New York City coming to Newark or in the surrounding areas, but Newark has never seen a downturn. Even during the height of the pandemic, we were still growing, we were still doing construction, we were still working. Even when there were shutdowns, a lot of the contractors and developers were still pushing to get work done, and it's a great time to be in Newark.
I think the residents ought to know that Mayor Baraka has been laser focused in ensuring that any dollars that we get in from the federal government or elsewhere, the state of New Jersey, or any other relief, has to get into the hands of the people who pay the taxes in this city.
The baseball stadium demolition that occurred about a year ago helped us jumpstart new development on that site. The project will actually bring 4,200 residential units, 100,000 square feet of commercial and retail.
A lot of the work that we've been doing in our recreational facilities is to ensure that we upgrade them. As you know, there's been a lot of work and attention that has been placed on repurposing our centers.
The reentry program in the city of Newark started. He saw a need for the residents that were coming home. We didn't have a lot of programs that were funding them to re-enter into society. A class of 50 that we had every 6 months, and the program was for us to bring them in sanitation to work for 6 months. And after they worked for 6 months, during that period of time, they go to class, which we sent them to Essex County College so that they can get workforce training, and not just workforce training, job readiness programs, so that they can have careers after the 6 months. And because of our efforts, the Barack Obama administration recognized the work that we were doing, and he actually visited the city of Newark, which was a great thing to talk about reentry and the importance of having reentry programs for our returning citizens.
Hi, my name is Rebecca. I'm the project manager for Four Corners Public Arts here in Newark, and we are also collaborators on a weekend-long event called A Call to Create and Care, in which we are repairing and restoring our community ground murals here in Newark and various murals that are part of the Four Corners Public Arts program.
Our city's arts and cultural affairs sector not only impacts everyday life and residents, but also those who visit our city. It's an economic engine for the city. The sector has an economic impact annually of $178 million and supports 5,000 jobs. It also creates over $7 million in revenue for our local government. The Creative Catalyst Fund was first announced by Mayor Baraka in January 2020. It was specifically designed to support individual artists, artist collectives, and small to mid-sized arts and cultural organizations.
My name is Antoinette Ellis Williams. I am a Creative Catalyst Grant recipient. I hope that my work speaks to two things, to justice and joy. I hope that when we look at it, we're not taken to a place of oppression, but a place of resistance and agency. To the city of Newark, to Mayor Ras Baraka, to Fahmi Shakur, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity for me to have voice in a place I now call home, Newark.
We supported numerous public art projects that included a new mural by local graffiti artist and artist collective Rorschach on Raymond Boulevard, a new mural at the Sharp James Recreation Center in partnership with Red Bull and Newark Arts, a new mural on Grafton Avenue at Al Munir Farms in partnership with the Grammy Museum and Prudential, community programming in partnership with Four Corners Public Art on Tree Place. We are transforming vacant spaces from blight to light.
Under Mayor Baraka's leadership, one of the first things he has done since he came into office was to strengthen the fiscal base so that the residents' taxes would not be in jeopardy anymore. Indeed, in this last year, for the first time in over a decade, the municipal tax rate was reduced under Mayor Ras Baraka. And that's exceptionally important because when he took office, there was a $90 million structural deficit that he took over, and he didn't know that that $90 million deficit existed.
During the pandemic, the interest rates fell, and we were able to take advantage. That saved us approximately $12 million.
We continue to reach out to our senior population, continue to engage, and continue to grow with a plethora of programming, be it hybrid, be it virtual, to enhance resource development.
We want to thank the Newark residents for filling out the 2020 census. The city of Newark started the campaign 2 years ahead. We had 48 job fairs, and we did more than any other city in the state of New Jersey. We hired over 2,000 Newark residents, and we worked together alongside Newark schools, colleges, community leaders, community centers, churches, libraries, elected officials, and together, the city of Newark was counted.
So one of our major successes is being able to register over 2,000 voters in the city of Newark alone, and also being able to see many of our students and our peers be able to go off to major colleges, start their own businesses, and many other endeavors.
Because my assignment is to make sure when you leave me or leave one of the faith leaders, that you feel better, even if we could not accomplish everything you wanted us to accomplish. And that's why I am thankful to be able to do what I do. No matter where I am, no matter what assignment I have, what's important to me is that when I walk away from you, or you walk away from one of us, and if we representing the Mayor's Office of Clergy Affairs, that we've done something to make you feel better. And there's a quote I use from some other folk. I didn't create the quote. The quote is, people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
Because you're from Newark and you need to be proud of it.
Newark and proud of it.
At Rutgers Newark, we are Newark and proud of it.
Soy de Newark y estoy orgullosa de serlo.
Newark and proud of it.
We were founded here, we're still here, and we're proud of it.
Newark and proud of it.
The Department of Public Safety serves the city of Newark, and we're proud of it.
Newark and proud of it.
Newark and proud of it.
I'm from Newark, and I'm proud of it.
I'm Newark, and I'm proud of it.
Yo soy Newark y estoy orgullosa de serlo.
You're from Newark and you need to be proud of it. You are from Newark and you need to be proud of it. You are from Newark and be proud of it.
Please give a warm welcome to Dante Norman, Newark resident and Newark Central High School alumnus.
Good evening. My name is Dante Norman. I'm a former student of Mayor Baraka's during his tenure at Central High School. I'm originally born in Jersey City, but I was raised in a small town called Jacksonville, North Carolina. This was a small, rural town, very impoverished. I went to a school where I was one of the very few African Americans, and I believe this played a big part of my confidence and how I viewed myself. I always felt like a shadow and sometimes unwelcomed. I was very small-minded, and I barely participated in class. I did enough to get by, and sometimes I would even fail. I left North Carolina after my sophomore year to live with my mother because my living circumstances were unhealthy. I enrolled in Central my junior year in 2011 and instantly fell in love with the culture and staff. I've never seen a principal so involved as Principal Baraka. He gave motivational speeches at convocation every morning before class. It seemed like he knew everyone he walked past. He gave a platform for his students to showcase their talent every Tuesday at an event we call Big Tuesday, where students would get on stage and perform amongst all their peers. He handled issues head on, broke up fights, and protected his students from any outside threats. If there was ever a problem or any tension amongst a brother, we called a meeting and talked it out like men. Our issues never led to physical altercations. This taught us how to communicate in an effective way under emotional distress. Every Wednesday, we dressed in business attire. This helped us learn how to wear suits, how to wear a tie, And at first, a lot of students used to laugh at us, but over time, this became a trend amongst all students at Central High School. He was a father figure to many Central High School students whose fathers were not involved in their lives. I went from barely passing to graduating in the top 15% in my class. Central felt like home to a lot of us. You would see large groups of students that wouldn't leave the school until late at night, and I think that helped us stay out of trouble. Most importantly, Principal Baraka held us accountable for our actions. Anytime we did anything to disrespect that went against the respect of Central, there were consequences, but these consequences taught us discipline. I was a part of a brotherhood that Principal Baraka helped create. In my eyes, this brotherhood was meant to help mold us into young adults and also be a positive influence in Central High School. These young men that joined this brotherhood were handpicked and came from different walks of life. Some were athletes, some were influenced by street life, and some were just into academics, but we all came together as one. Principal Baraka was a mentor to all of us. He instilled in us principles that I still live by today: respect, responsibility, honor, discipline, truth, wisdom, and loyalty. I would not be the man that I am today without Principal Baraka. He helped me, and I'm thankful for that. And now, without further ado, please welcome my principal and our mayor, Raz J. Baraka.
I got to keep on pushing. I can't stop now. Move up a little higher, some way, somehow. And I got my strength, and it don't make sense not to keep on pushing. Little impressions. I'm so happy to be in here this evening. I want to thank all of the incredible folks that came before me. That video was awesome. I want to thank Dante Norman, who almost had me in tears back there. Literally, I didn't know he was going to do this until this evening. So thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Mr. Council President, dignitaries, and the incredible families of our city, I'm not going to be long tonight. You can see from the video that we've been working. But I come to you this evening as a kid from Newark, the son of Amiri and Amina Baraka, who both gave their heart and blood to this city. They made deep sacrifices for the city and the families that live here. They loved and still love this city immensely and have passed that love down to me, and I've tried in my years to use that love to create hope, to build belief, and ultimately the courage to transform, to move from what we know to what we can imagine. I have used that love to move our city forward. I come to you tonight as the mayor of the city of my birth, a city that I love and a city that I am proud of. Vice President McIver, we are assembled here today to affirm that our city is great. It's moving in the right direction, and we are still, even in the middle of a pandemic, scoring touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. We are here to say that our families are strong and our city is growing, that we have not run from our problems, that we have faced them down and are changing our trajectory one day at a time. We are proud from where we have come and are confident in our road ahead. We are not here to proclaim that we are perfect, that all of our problems have somehow disappeared, or that we don't have intractable issues that challenge us daily. But that is the very reason we are in this auditorium tonight, The reason I decided to do this 8 years ago, to get in the game, to fight the big fights, I realized that it wasn't enough just to talk about the issues and criticize other people. I had to get in the arena. And as I am thankful for all that we've accomplished, I am equally thankful for the hardships, the obstacles, the unexpected barriers, and I'm even thankful for those who get up each day to tear down everything we try to create. Why? Because how can we say we Newark strong if we've never lifted anything heavy? How can we say we are tough if we've never been tried? How can we say we are moving forward unless we pass the places where we've been stuck? And how can we wear our crown without bearing our cross? I know we are better than we were 8 years ago. I know that we are better than we were 8 years ago. And anybody that's telling you something different is peddling fiction. So what have we done? In 2013, Newark's unemployment rate was at 14%. Right before the pandemic hit, we were a little over 5%. At the height of the pandemic, we were at a record high of 22% unemployment. And in just 2 years, that number is down to 8%. This is moving forward. Even in the deepest of waters, we are dancing in the desert. We are singing in the dark. Our treasure and our triumph is in our tragedy. And while many cities struggle to dispense of their American Rescue Plan dollars to residents that were behind on their rent, we were successful in giving out $20 million to our residents here. Yeah, I'm optimistic and I have good reason to be. Proud because of our journey. I was born 2 years after tanks rolled up Springfield Avenue and our city burned, and we were left to figure it all out on our own. I was raised here in this city amidst struggles and triumphs. I played on dirty mattresses in abandoned lots and witnessed my friends beat by police or murdered by poverty and drugs in the hands of people they knew. But we pressed on. The same street that burned to ashes, when I started my tenure, we cut the ribbon of a brand new supermarket and complex. And now we're looking forward to development up and down that corridor that was once a stage for revolt and turmoil. We rose above the flames and Newark moved forward. And when I came in our office, our budget was unbalanced. And we had 93 million reasons to believe the pundits that our future was not bright and that the new mayor couldn't work with the business community. But we proved them all wrong. We found the best in our neighbors and partnered with our anchors in every imaginable way and tapped into the brilliance that already rested in our folks at City Hall. And now we're able to offer tax relief that has not been done in more than a decade. This is Newark Forward. Our police department was shaken at the foundation. There were more than 160 officers laid off, and crime rose, and more than 100 families lost loved ones to senseless acts of violence. We turned that around with God's grace, hired over 500 officers and cut homicides completely in half, and have the lowest crime rates that we have had since the Bay of Pigs. This is Newark Forward. Take a look at these charts. The chart speaks for itself. As the rest of the country increased, Newark decreased. Not decreased slightly, but precipitously. And so while we still face issues in our community, while we still have homicide and crime in our community, no one can say that we were not working. No one can say that we did not improve. And no one can say that the city is not better than it was 8 years ago. Around the country, we suffocated under the foot of Officer Chauvin as George Floyd's life was taken in front of us all, and calls to abolish police rang out as people were tired of being tired. But in Newark, we did something different. We created the Office of Violence Prevention and Trauma Recovery with monies from the police department. We set aside $19 million more to go to community organizations. Even before that, we created the Newark Community Street Team and a Brick City Peace Collective to begin to challenge a culture of violence and create a network of organizations that could get on the ground and work in the most difficult areas of our city. Even more, we changed police policies and practices, added additional training for our officers, and created the first and only civilian complaint review board in the state of New Jersey. This is Newark Forward. In the last 2 to 3 years, we built a brand new full-service homeless shelter, a village for the most difficult to house, and an innovative container village, and are scheduled to build 3 more this year, as well as a drop-in center by Penn Station for our residents without addresses. This is Newark Forward. And as Newark continues to grow, even during this pandemic, with billions of dollars of scheduled development and the opening of new restaurants and businesses, we have concentrated on equity. We started off by going after slumlords and continue to do so. We have closed some of those places down, forced rehabilitation in others, and run some unscrupulous folks out of town. We formed an Equitable Growth Commission to partner with us and ensure that our ideas and projects focus on the most vulnerable and those that are struggling as our economy sprints forward. And with the help of the Municipal Council, we passed an inclusionary zoning ordinance that forces developers to set aside 20% of their units to create affordability. And we just strengthened that ordinance to ensure that more units are created. This is Newark Forward. We didn't stop there. As you saw in the video, we created the state's only land bank. The state's only land bank that has begun to put wealth in the hands of our residents through property ownership. Here is where we took residents that were in public housing, used their vouchers, and created an opportunity for them to become homeowners. This is happening nowhere but here. This is Newark Forward. And even further, we've invested $20 million in new housing targeted to residents whose household income is $32,000 or less. We are funding the preservation of 6,000 more affordable units and will support 10,000 vulnerable or unsheltered households every single year. This is Newark Forward. And while the conversation everywhere is about the growing digital divide, particularly in this pandemic, we extended broadband and Wi-Fi to our city parks and rec centers, and even provided Chromebooks to our seniors. But that's not it. We are scheduled to expand to our housing properties and public school buildings, but that's not it. We have an overall plan to ensure that every single resident of this city has access to free or very low-cost broadband no matter where you live. This is Newark Forward. And because of the work we've done, we've given Black and brown entrepreneurs, businesses, and developers opportunities in this city they just really never had. We continue to do so as we are on the road to do our part in closing a wealth gap that was created by decades of intentional discrimination and white supremacy. This is Newark Forward. In our first year here, we secured 700 jobs for Newark residents, opened up Whole Foods, broke ground on the world's largest indoor farm, put out a $2 million grant to address food insecurity by growing small urban farms into co-ops. We strengthened our first source ordinance, required 30% of vendors to be Newark residents and 51% to be minority or women-owned. And with the help of our anchors, we employed 4,000 residents, which got us to double our Newark 2020 goal before the pandemic. This is Newark Forward. This is Newark Forward. This is Newark Forward. This is Newark Forward. We are rehabilitating almost all of our rec centers and parks. We were voted the 5th of the country's most walkable cities. We created a Parks Foundation managed by Marcy DePena that immediately held 200 events this past summer in our downtown parks that drew over 35,000 attendees in the middle of the pandemic. This is Newark Forward. And finally, we're creating Ridgewood Park, designed for our residents with autism, our first and only park created in this city to address the needs of our autistic community. This is Newark Forward. And I'm so excited today that I finally get on this evening at NJPAC an opportunity to celebrate the way I really want to today. With my people, the families of my city, and those that love this city now and forever. I get to proclaim that not all storms come to destroy us. That some storms don't come to stay, they come to pass. And the world watched our city struggle and thought we would be crushed under the weight of doubt and negativity. Some threw us in a cistern and sold us off. They were hoping we would be defeated, but we made it here anyway. What they thought would destroy us became our footstool. And so Vice President Harris came here to congratulate us for the work we have done. I get to tonight hold up one of the city's last lead service lines. I get to hold it up tonight in front of everybody on the same stage where they tried to mock us and we went from being mocked to being modeled. Yeah, that's more than anything. That's Newark Forward. That's Newark Forward. That's Newark Forward. We're making it to the other side of this pandemic. I know there are those out there that were not happy with the decisions we made, who loathed wearing masks and used their platforms to demean or even demonize our vaccination efforts. Listen, I understand your fear, your skepticism, even your anger. I just don't agree with you. I watched as Newark led Essex County in deaths and this country, and our state rested at the top of the nation's list in cases and deaths. With the help of our collective efforts in this city and our county, we were able to reverse those trends. What we did saved lives, and I would do it all again if I had to. These are decisions that leaders have to make in difficult times. Do we watch our neighbors die, the most vulnerable perish, and respond with angry diatribes on social media? Or do we do whatever is in our power to save their lives? Do we watch our infections grow and cross our fingers and be guided by fear as we are crushed under the weight of this crisis? Or do we stand tall and cover those that may not make it without us? This is our job, to bear our cross, to do what we have done. And there are more people that are able to sit in this hall with us tonight because we made the right choices. We followed the science. We lived here, our families, our children, our friends, our closest relatives. It was our obligation to keep everybody safe, despite if it inconvenienced your nightlife. Or you felt your freedom was being stolen because somebody told you to wear a mask. Imagine being told to sit on the back of the bus, or go to the back of a restaurant, or drink out of another water fountain, or being denied education and improvement. And you thought a mask stole your freedom. You need to open up a book and read some history. And I don't want to hear nobody, not a single person, make an analogy to mask wearing to slavery. And anybody that does that is absolutely positively wrong, and they missed their 5th grade history class. Because I represent the only people who were brought here against their will. And wearing a mask is nothing to us. Listen, and because we did this, we are able to open up safely again and bring our people and our economy back. In fact, listen, Newark was listed as one of the top U.S. cities that are recovering from this pandemic rapidly. And we want to continue to move forward. And so tonight, I'm asking all of our businesses, all of our institutions, and all of our corporations and anchors to come back to Newark. We are ready to move forward. Prudential, I invite you back. Horizon, I invite you back. PSE&G, I invite you back. Mars, come on home. Don't leave us now. We are growing. We are winning. We are moving forward. Join us. This is Newark Forward. Join us. This is Newark Forward. Join us. This is Newark Forward. You can't stay home forever. Come back to the city. Open up our city. Embrace our city. Shop in our city. Buy in our city. Build in our city. Love our city. Raise in our city. This is our city. We are moving forward. Come back and come back now. There's so much more for us to do. And I know people like to point it out. There's so much more for us to do, and I pray that we are given the opportunity to continue getting it done. We are not perfect by no stretch of the imagination. We are constant work in progress, and the task that lies ahead of us is enormous. And the world is certainly being pushed backwards. There needs to be an equal and opposite force in the other direction. We are witnessing war and aggression in Ukraine, the attack on democratically elected government. And we witnessed something similar here, an attack on democracy not too far from us in Washington, D.C. on January the 6th. We are watching as our voting rights are being chipped away, and the will and force to address it has been weak and timid. States are banning books and making it illegal to teach Black history, whether it's a speech by Martin Luther King or a novel by Toni Morrison. Because there are people that believe teaching our children about injustice is worse than actually having to live with it. Here in New Jersey, we can't pass basic criminal justice reform. We can't say the word reparations. We can't desegregate our own schools or find a will to include everyone into our economy or provide housing for the most vulnerable. It is time for us to be repairers of the breach. We need serious-minded people in these offices. We have to be thoughtful about what we are doing here. This is not a time for clout chasers and opportunists. Or those that partner objectively with the forces that are trying to silence our diversity. This is no time for the entitled or title seekers. No time for glory seekers or increased likes on Facebook. We need workers now more than ever. We need those that love the cause and the labor. We need people who actually want the job and are willing to do it. We need those with wide shoulders that can hold us all. Dreams that are big enough for all of us to fit in. No time for small-mindedness and bickering and foolishness. No time for name-calling and bitterness. Our lives are not a dramatic miniseries or a reality TV show. We are not the entertainment or sideshow for YouTube. We have a long history with mighty families in Newark. Respect our history, respect our families, respect our people. We are not a joke for the rest of the state, a punchline. This is Newark, and we're moving forward. We need a team, a force equal and opposite to the one that tries to divide us, that tries to break us down and force us to lose hope in one another. We started in 2014 by asking you to believe in Newark, because believing matters. There is power in what you believe. The first step towards failure is our inability to believe. So the goal is to move you beyond your belief in what is possible. The idea that we can triumph, the radical imagination that forces us to believe in one another, and ultimately believe in this city that made us who we are. And so tonight, I'm asking you to believe in Newark again. But this time, in Newark's future. What we can become, how we can continue our transformation. And it's going to be painful, because we're going to have to stop reminiscing about places we've been and plot the course to where we are going. We have to abandon hopeless conversations and ideas that give life to our demise, and walk away from people who are empowered by our problems and feed off of our misery. We have to imagine something and someplace different that is so disruptive that the state must pay attention to the direction we are going. I'm asking you to believe in Newark's children. Believe in our ability to get to victory. Believe that the seeds we have planted will blossom, that the work we are doing and the places we are building will be made useful for all of us. It was belief that got us through COVID-19. It was belief that got us through our lead crisis. It was belief that got our schools back. It was belief that helped us reduce violence. It was belief that moved us where we are. Belief in ourselves, belief that Newark will be okay, and belief that nothing can stop us. That whatever they have for us, we can handle, and whatever they mean for bad will always be turned for good. Belief that our love for each other is greater than the hate they heap upon us. Belief that the righteous will never be forsaken, and that good will always win in the end. Belief that the only way we can win is by doing it together. Listen, I don't mean any disrespect, but I see signs and things out here that says, I'm with you or you're with us. The only problem with that is when there's an us, there's a them. Us and them don't work, only we. We all from Newark. All of us. We come from families that migrated here from the South on an iron horse, seeking refuge from lynching and hatred to raise families with little to nothing. We are from mothers that travel miles with their children and everything they own, speaking different languages, and settled here looking for a good education and opportunity. We traveled overseas seeking refuge from earthquakes in Azores and turned pain into profit on small streets thousands of miles away from our traditions. We left poverty in Haiti and war-torn Liberia. We all chose Newark, all of us. No matter where we left, we found our way here. History has made us neighbors. History has put our fate in each other's hands. We have learned that dividing us makes our situation worse. It condemns our belief and threatens our security. It makes our collective prosperity almost impossible. It means that we must be together no matter what part of the city we live in. And anyone that tries to create division is the enemy of our growth and the obstacle to our beliefs. So what do? We believe anyway. We have faith anyway. We go forward anyway. They lied on us and we still here. They betrayed us and we still here. They hated and talked about us, but we still here. Our city burned, but we still here. We went through a pandemic, but we still here. Our mothers suffered on these blocks trying to raise their families in difficult situations, but we still here. Some of our fathers went to jail and came home and tried to redo their lives, but we still here. We know what pain is. We know what difficult times are. We did it and we do it together. Only when we're separated, we fail. Our collaboration and our collectivity is our power. When there are people and bosses, I should say, who create their power by keeping us apart, we give them power, we give them life when we feed into that. What do? We join hands across all of our neighborhoods and wards. We learn each other's languages and not demean people for speaking other languages. We eat each other's food. We break these artificial barriers and we cross these imaginary lines. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world what the future of Newark looks like. We show the world. We show the world that Newark is moving forward. Newark is strong now, and it always will ever be. God bless you, and God bless the great city of Newark.
Say we are on our way to a land of faith. We're on our way. We're on our journey home. Oh, we are on our way. We're on our way to a land of faith. We're on our way. We're on our journey home. When we get to glory, oh, we will shout and tell the story. How we made it all. We're on our journey. Gotta make it home. When we get to glory, we get to glory. We're gonna shout and tell how we made it. We made it. We're on our journey home. When we get to glory, when we get to glory, we're gonna shout and tell how we made it all. We're on our journey home. We are on our way. Oh yes we are. We're on our way to a land of fairy tales. We're on our way. We're on our journey home. Gotta make it home. When we get to glory, say right here, yeah. When we get to glory, we will shout and tell the story. How we made it over. Oh, we're on our journey home. Oh, we are on our way. Yes, we are. We're on our way to a land of fairy tales.
much to everyone. Thank you to Samar Bigham and friends. Have a great evening.